Oh, that's a ticket. Oh shit, let's get the video started. My name is Jacob Adams. I'm a fitness and leadership coach. I help people just like you get to the next level. Whether it's burning fat in the gym, building muscle, getting personal records, dialing in on nutrition and supplementation. Here on YouTube, it's developing the mindsets that help us break through our habits and patterns to get to the next level. Titillation, what is it? Flash in the pan, all kinds of, you say, drama. Don't worry, I didn't really snort bumps of coke on camera. I did that only to show you that titillation seems to get attention in today's world that maybe it always has. Sometimes somebody could say, hey, I'm suicidal. If you think back to the days of a few years ago when 13 Reasons Why was popular, a lot of people started saying, well, me too, I'm struggling with suicidal thoughts. And I would get texts from people saying, I'm struggling with suicidal thoughts. And part of me knows that that is true, as in the last month or so when my dad passed away, Advocare did what it did with its compensation plan and all kinds of shit started happening. I found myself struggling with a depression, so I do know that darkness and human emotion and all those things are real. At the same time, I think people use stories to maybe not be as sincere. In the same way I used me snorting bumps of cocaine here at the beginning of this video. I did that, but I'm confessing that that's why I did it. I did it to create a stir, to poke at your emotional buttons, to shock you, okay? And that is the world as I see it in social media, for example. In other words, if we open up Instagram, a woman shows her ass in a nice long bikini or something, and in a very provocative, come get this ass type pose, and gets a lot of likes, and that's good because on some level that's nature expressing itself and being like, well, this is the way humans procreate. Like, there is that truth to it. On the other end, there is a marketing component, meaning like this is just a person looking to gain a type of notoriety and attention, and in the easiest way possible. Again, similar to me snorting lines of coke or something like that. Like, it's an example. Here, I'll show you what I mean. Just wanted to have a picture here of a beautiful woman. It's a new perfume. C. In other words, a new perfume by Giorgio Armani. C. Yes. And so what I'm going to do is consecutively throughout this video is bring this photo up and just show it to you. See, the body responds by producing dopamine with new ideas, new feelings, new situations. The body gives us a hit of dopamine. And in that, we can sometimes be addicted to a response of sorts. As a matter of fact, when it comes to fitness, I know that one of the reasons I'm so into fitness, beyond the meaning, beyond the fulfillment it gives me, beyond everything, there's a scientific addiction that my body has grown accustomed to, the energy, the needing of like the heightened state of emotions that working out will do for me. So there is that element to our life, like advertisements, things like that. And so why am I making this video, or what am I getting at? You may have noticed that this is true in your world, that people are in fact showing skin or doing all kinds of things to get attention. That's fine. It does leave us, though, at the end of the day, we have to produce a certain amount of work, right? We have to produce a certain experience for ourselves, for us to be fulfilled. And what I have found is that, while this titillation is existing and we can even partake in it and enjoy it, this again isn't a judgment of character or a judgment of sin or a judgment of let me discuss it for the sake of saying I'm better than. Okay, this is a discussion of what is better for us, what is better for ourselves. If you look at titillation in all the areas of your life, you may see, like I do, that let's just say I see a fast food restaurant. Well, let's just say there's a triple meat, like a number 8, I think Whataburger makes, a number 8 all the way with cheese, right? That's a very good tasting like burger with a lot of pizzazz and grease and salt and the fries and stuff. So that's a titillation of sorts. Now, I'm not addicted to Whataburger number 8s by any stretch. I do occasionally like them on weekends, or when it's late, nothing's open. I'm just being honest. Like, that's typically how I will think of a number 8. Now, there are people that they never got past that part, I've seen as a trainer, and they continuously go to the titillation of that type of food in order to eat. Like, that is their diet. Where, if we look at the concept of, when I think of, well, what's better? Well, I typically go to Jason's Deli and get a manager special, or I'll make some homemade chicken with some brown rice and a little vegetable. And so I do that to fulfill my body there's that word, like fulfill the body's needs in nutrition, in proteins, in fibers, in complex carbohydrates, and with the objective of producing a certain look, a certain type of energy to my body, a certain health, okay? Health, energy, and you say self-esteem. So that's part, and yeah, it is also tasty, right? It tastes good. Add the right spices, maybe a few dressings, you get the idea, maybe a little cheese, it goes a long way. Salt and pepper, you get the idea here, okay? So just, let's keep it to broad strokes here. So let's take a look at, for example, if I look at, the mindset, okay? This video that I'm making, it came from me examining my own mind. It came from me examining the emotions that I was feeling, whether it's, let's just say there's somebody that I admire, and this person is posting a lot of stuff on their Instagram, and some of it is, partying and hedonistic behavior, I'll say that. And there is a part of me that says, like, wow, this type of behavior gets a lot of attention, but it isn't, like, that isn't sustaining and fulfilling on an everyday basis. Does that make sense? Again, it isn't sustaining and fulfilling on an everyday basis, meaning a person isn't going to be able to live hedonistically every day of their life, and that is going to fulfill them on the depths. Does that make some sense? Where, let's just say, I'll give you a backdrop where, having a spiritual connection, having some understanding of the soul, is a plus hedonism. I'll even say the word plus hedonism, or hedonistic behavior. Spirituality plus little hedonism can have a more balanced output. Okay, so to wrap that up, because I think that I don't want to lose you there. If we were to be anchored in a spiritual work, spiritual type behavior, or the work that we're producing in the life that we're living has an anchoring in spirituality, and hedonism is sort of sprinkled into it, that is more of a formula for fulfillment, but it isn't typically spoken of that way. Sometimes we get more like the titillation, like hedonism and party, and I think that's what like rap music tries to sell us primarily in many ways, like the titillation, not so much what is real, like what is the realness of life, right? I like to focus on more like the real applicable stuff, because just like the illusion of life, I think when we only speak on some illusion type behavior, I don't feel that does a lot for people, because it's sort of just like someone's on the outside looking in. I don't really feel it's real. Okay. Taking into consideration, let's see, relationships. Relationships is another one. The titillation of, like yesterday, I emailed some people, is monogamy dead? I emailed a lot of people on my list, is monogamy dead? I had a few people unsubscribe, maybe they were like, screw this guy. And I think that on the surface that may look hedonistic. And yet, through research, I've been able to sort of conclude that I have a reason to believe, based on the current state of society and human nature and overall true examination of human behavior, that the chances that monogamy exists, especially now going forward, let's say you're in a monogamous relationship and it was established in the 90s or the early 2000s. I think that's more, it's the models were different. I'm literally saying there are two different models right now. And right now going forward, did monogamy in fact sort of die in this last decade? And I think there's reason to believe that it may have. You see, so that's sort of an interesting blend of, that may seem titillating, but it's actually sort of a report of, more like a journalistic report. Okay? So something to consider there. Sometimes what is titillating, seems titillating, isn't really for titillation. It's actually more of a functional truth. And so, these videos here that I'm making, this one in particular, if it came from observing titillating behavior, or the sizzle, or the flash in the pan, or the drama, like what seems to be popular in social media, and understanding that, like, here's some titillation for you, or just sort of like pretty woman, there you go. So like, I fully understand that my channel doesn't produce that. Like, I'm fully aware of that. It's more designed to get down into the nitty-gritty of what is actually needed to produce. Let's just say this video, like the titillation that I saw in the external world shows me, as Jacob, when I see titillation in the external world, in my eyes see it, and I say, well, that's not what I'm producing. I'm not producing that. And I have a choice to make there. Do I create titillation, and that's where the joke came from, me snorting coke in the beginning of the video. Like, it's just, even though that's not really what I'm not doing, I have friends that I know do cocaine and stuff like that, and they offer me and I don't do it. It's just to show you that, like, sometimes the world we live in isn't who we are, or what we see in the external world isn't who we are. And sometimes we have to really see that as, on some level, our own blessing, and that's what I have found, is like, we have to see how, just because we don't act fully, and I say fully because I think on some level we all like titillation and we all like drama on some level, but then there's people that really are addicted to drama. There's people that cannot live a moment without intensity. There's people that cannot sit in a moment in prayer or meditation, or anything that is, of the soul, or anything that is of discipline or nutrition or hard work. And then I think that modern society and modern marketing does take advantage of these people, because like, they're just giving them what they want. Giving people what they want. Like, a strip club is a form of giving people what they want, not necessarily what they need. I think that's the biggest breakthrough I can give you in today's video. It's that modern marketing seems to be giving people what they buy and want on an instant gratification type way. And I know that my channel isn't very instant gratification. Like, I know that if if this channel was about instant gratification, I would have, you know, women in spandex bending over and like making people salivate. Like I get that, and that's where this joke comes from of like, here's a beautiful woman, and you know, like it's like I understand the mechanism of what modern marketing has become in many ways. And yeah, like it's kind of funny. It's a funny thing to see like played out every day. Like and full transparency, I mean, I'll follow a few beautiful women that are sexy, that are scantily clad on Instagram. Like I'll follow, you know, 10 to 20 out of 300. So if you do the math, that's like 5%. Like 5%. Say I have 299 people, maybe like 20 of those people are attractive, sexy, scantily clad women, you know, who are showing their body. Like, you know, 5 to 10%. I don't know. You get the idea. It's a very small percentage. Most of the people that I follow on Instagram, for example, are people just like you that I know. People I admire, authors and stuff like that. And so I don't think I'm being a hypocrite in this. This is a true way to understand and kind of go into titillation. Like I think we need to reduce titillation and the addiction to dopamine drips and like all of these things in our world in order to stay more focused and actually produce and have more fulfillment at the end of the day. And you know, I am grateful to an extent, again, that the titillation I saw helped me dig deep and be like, is this, do I want to produce this? It's a difference to want to produce that type of marketing than to like actually want to engage in it. Again, this isn't a judgment on that type of behavior. It sincerely, truly isn't. It's more like the message. Like, what are we telling people if all we say, this is all that we're giving out? Like if all we're doing is booty pics, if all we're doing is, you know, this hedonistic behavior, if that's all we put out there, is on some level as a person outside looking in, we might think, well, that's all that this person does. We can begin thinking that based on an image view. And that's interesting. So I think that we need to separate. I think we are having a polarity of sorts happening where people are now saying, well, what is reality and what is just marketing? And I think that marketing today is gaining to emulate reality more and more so. Because, and a little less titillation is eventually going to come into the surface, where there's more of the proper blend of titillation to actual reality. A little titillation, I think, is always necessary, but when it's the main tone or the main course, then it's almost unsexy. I think a 10% to 20% titillation goes a long way versus it being the main course. That's what I think. That's why I think marketing should be the messaging that we deliver. Unless, of course, you're a strip club and then you're straight up. No, it's always been just pure titillation. And you could disagree and go about it your own way. I think that marketing is going to another shift in the next decade. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Subscribe, message, and yeah. This is Jacob Adams. We'll see you next time. Bye.